The cow kicked up dust as Jonas Creel tugged the lead rope toward the hitching post. Sun beat down on the parched earth, cracking it like old leather. His boots creaked, spurs quiet as he walked, always quiet. Ellie Mae stood across the paddock, hand on her hip, face half-shadowed beneath her hat. "That the one?" Jonas asked, voice like gravel dragged through whiskey. Ellie nodded. "Strong milk line. Eats less than you'd think." He didn't answer, just crouched, checked the hooves, ran a calloused hand down the animal's flank. The town of Duskwater buzzed faintly behind them, windmill clacking slow, saloon piano stumbling through a waltz, somebody coughing hard behind the general store. A small hand tugged at his coat. Jonas looked down. The little girl stood barefoot in the dust, hair tangled, dress sun-faded and patched in 3 places. She looked up at him with the seriousness only children and dying men have. Then she whispered, "It's my mommy's last day alive." Jonas froze. The cow snorted. A crow let out a sharp caw from the fence post. Ellie's voice cut across the silence. "Sadie, hush now, child." The girl didn't move, didn't blink. Jonas rose slowly, eyes narrowed beneath the brim of his hat. The wind had stopped. Not slowed, stopped. Not even the dry weeds swayed. Ellie chuckled nervously. "Kids say the strangest. Sadie, go help in the kitchen." Sadie didn't budge. Jonas studied Ellie's face. Her eyes darted once to the ridgeline behind the barn. Just a flick. Just enough. "You got trouble coming?" he asked flatly. Ellie's smile was thin. "You want the cow or not?" He didn't answer. The girl still stared at him. Jonas pulled his glove tight. "Maybe I'll stay the night," he said, tone even like discussing weather. Ellie folded her arms. "Ain't no rooms for rent here." "I'll sleep in the barn," Jonas said. "Just till morning. Won't bother a soul." She hesitated. The silence weighed heavy. Finally, Ellie nodded just once. "You feed your own horse." He grunted agreement. Sadie smiled, not like a child, like she knew something grown-ups didn't. The cow mooed, loud and sudden. From the saloon, laughter rose, too fast, too forced. And from far off in the canyon, something echoed. Not a bird. Not wind. A sound like boots on stone. Jonas turned toward it, jaw tight. He hadn't brought his rifle into town, but he brought something worse. His memory. And that never missed. The lantern flickered low in the barn, throwing long shadows across the stacked hay and rusted tools. Jonas sat on an overturned feed barrel, watching the crack beneath the barn door. His revolver rested on his thigh, loaded, unshaken. Hoofprints, fresh, had lined the creek bed that afternoon. No horses in Ellie's corral matched them. Behind him, Sadie curled in an old quilt on the hay, eyes wide open. She hadn't said a word since sundown. "Someone was in the trees," she finally whispered. "Watching Mommy." Jonas didn't move. "You see his face?" She nodded. It looked like melted wax. "When I don't shut." Jonas's jaw flexed. He turned to the dark barn wall and stared like he could see right through it. Outside, a breeze swept through the brush, whispering over the rocks. The windmill groaned once, then stopped. Ellie's silhouette appeared at the barn door. She stepped inside, shotgun in hand. "Heard Sadie talking," she said. "I told her not to tell stories." "She's not," Jonas muttered. "Burned face. Rides with the Ridgebacks. That ring a bell." Ellie stiffened. Her fingers tightened on the stock. "Ain't heard that name in a year." "They're near." She shook her head, voice low. "Bo died because of them. Said he could get us out. Leave all that behind." "You believe him?" "I had to." Jonas stood. He moved toward the tack wall, pulling down an old oilskin bundle hidden behind a saddle. Inside, a Henry rifle, clean, wrapped in oiled cloth. Ellie's eyes widened. "You come here for a cow. Now you're drawing iron like a man expecting war." "I recognize ghosts when I see," Jonas said. That girl wasn't wrong. Ellie hesitated. Her shoulders sagged under the weight of something she hadn't spoken in years. "There's a tin box buried behind the well," she said. "Bo kept something inside. Craven always wanted it. Map names something bad." Jonas nodded slowly. "They won't stop with a knock." "No," she whispered. He glanced at Sadie. She'd fallen asleep with her thumb in her mouth. Peaceful even now. Ellie watched her daughter for a long time, then looked to Jonas. "I won't let them take her," she said. He checked the rifle's sights. They're coming. Outside, the night held its breath. From the ridge came a soft, distant whinny, then the faint clink of spurs on stone. Ellie whispered like a prayer. I thought we were done with this. Jonas chamber round. No one's ever done with the Ridgebacks. He stepped into the dark, rifle in hand. Behind him, Ellie checked the shotgun, lips set tight. And far above, on the canyon ledge, a figure moved, just a flicker, watching, waiting. The window shattered first. Glass exploded across the kitchen table. Ellie dropped the coffee pot and dove to the floor. The shotgun slid from her grip, clattering across the floorboards. Jonas didn't duck. He stood in the doorway, rifle aimed, body still as stone. His eyes locked on the porch, just a shadow outside, boots scraping the steps. Then came the voice. Well, now, it drawled. Ain't this place just as cozy as I remember? Ellie's breath caught. Jonas didn't blink. The door creaked open. Dale Craven stepped inside. Burned face twisted in a half-grin, one eye milky and unblinking. 3 men followed, guns drawn, boots heavy. Sadie whimpered from behind the wood stove. Hello, darlin', Craven said to Ellie, removing his hat. His scalp shone raw and pink beneath singed strands of hair. Your late husband told me a tale for he died. About a map. We don't have it, Ellie spat. Craven tilted his head. Then what's in that tin box y'all buried behind the well? Jonas raised the rifle an inch. One of the Ridgebacks cocked his pistol. Craven sneered. Easy, Gramps. You twitch wrong, and you'll be meat before the girl screams. Jonas's voice came low and flat. You remember Shiloh Ridge? Craven blinked. What? 5 dead men in the snow. 1 missing scalp. 1 left to crawl home. Craven's grin faltered. Ain't no way. You ran, Craven. Jonas stepped forward. You ran, and I let you live. Craven's eyes narrowed, recognition crawling across his face like a slow sickness. Smoke-eyed man, he whispered. The room fell silent. Even the Ridgebacks hesitated. Jonas moved first. Crack. The rifle barked. The nearest man dropped, chest torn open. Ellie lunged for a shotgun. Chaos. Craven dove sideways, flipping the table. Jonas shot again, missed. Wood splintered. Smoke filled the room. Ellie fired, caught a second man in the leg. He screamed, spinning. Sadie cried out from under the stove. Craven crawled behind the hearth, eyes wild. You think this ends with me? He shouted. There's more coming. Jonas grabbed the revolver from his belt, kicked a chair aside, moved like he was 20 years younger. I know, he said. A third man rushed him. Jonas dropped him with a shot to the gut. The man fell into the fire grate, screaming. Only Craven left. Come on out, Jonas growled. Craven stood slowly, pistol to Sadie's head. 1 twitch. I swear. Ellie froze. Jonas lowered the revolver an inch. Craven grinned. That's more like. Jonas flicked his wrist. Boom. The sack of flour from the shelf above burst. Blinding white dust filled the air. In the blur, Jonas moved. 1 shot. Clean. Right between the eyes. Craven crumpled beside the stove. Silence. Sadie stood unharmed, eyes wide. Ellie ran to her, held her tight. Jonas turned, back to the door. Smoke drifted in the pale morning light. Still think I came here for a cow, he muttered. No one answered. The sun cracked the horizon in bleeding gold. Smoke still curled from the hearth. Ellie sat on the floor, cradling Sadie, her hands shaking as she stroked the girl's hair. Jonas stood over Craven's body. 1 boot nudged the pistol away, slow and methodical. His revolver hung loose in his grip. Eyes hard, jaw set. The Ridgebacks were dead. All of them. Floor stained, walls pocked with bullets. No law would come this far. Not fast enough. Not ever. Ellie looked up at him. You saved us. Jonas didn't answer. He stared past her, like seeing something 100 miles off. A long silence passed. Then Sadie whispered, You ain't just a cow, man. Jonas finally turned. No, he said. Ellie stood, barefoot, on the blood-smeared boards. Who were you before all this? He took a long breath. They call me a few names. Most I didn't ask for. Fought for the Union. Hunted men after. Tracked ghosts for a bounty. Till I lost more than I caught. His hand brushed the locket in his coat. A tiny click as he closed it. Then I found a ranch and stopped talking. Ellie stepped closer. Why help us? Jonas met Sadie's eyes. She reminded me of someone. That's all. Outside, crows circled the ridge. The world was waking. Jonas holstered his revolver, stepped out the door. Dust rose as his boots touched the ground. Ellie followed him to the porch. Where you headed? He paused at the hitching post, saddled his horse with slow, practiced motions. Nowhere. You sure? She asked. This place could use someone who knows which end of a gun to point. He gave her the faintest smile. You already do. He climbed into the saddle. Sadie stepped onto the porch, clutching a doll missing one arm. You're the reason Mommy's still here, she said. That means something. Jonas looked down at her, eyes softening. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small brass coin. Faded, worn smooth. Keep it, he said, to remember you weren't helpless. You were heard. Sadie took it like a treasure. Ellie blinked fast, looking away. He tipped his hat, then turned the horse toward the open desert. Hooves thudded on dry earth, fading into the wind. By midday, the town whispered. By sundown, the story grew. They said he rode like he'd done it 1,000 times. Said he vanished into the canyons where even shadows wouldn't follow. They say the Ridgebacks never came back. And when Sadie grew up, she told her children. He wasn't just a rancher. He was the kind of man who only shows up once, right when it matters most. That's the tale, far as anyone can prove. But around Duskwater, they still leave a cup of water by the barn door, just in case he rides through again.